Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. To be meditation worthy is to be able to withdraw from any activity in a fraction of moment. It is something like this. When we start our car, we go with very high speed, and when we want to stop, we can stop in a fraction of moment. It's not that you want to stop the car, you apply the brake, and the brake gets applied after half an hour. By then you are already delivered into the heaven. We have to stop the car instantaneously. In the same manner, we have to have a complete freedom that we get involved in this world as well as we are able to withdraw from this world in a fraction of a moment. That freedom when we have, then we have become meditation worthy. Now such a person, he is defined now in verse number 15. Yunjannevam sadatmanam yogi niyatamanasah Shantim nirvana paramam mat samstham adhigacchati. Yogi evam satatam atmanam yunjit. In this manner, the seeker is constantly on the alert. He is extremely alert. Are we getting either lazy or oversleepy, or we have no control in our life when we are indulging? See, we have to have a clear goal. The clear goal is we are always alert. If anything is happening on account of laziness, if it is on account of being sleepy, then we are not the seekers. A seeker cannot afford to have three problems in him. First, laziness. Second is excessive sleep. And third is pramad, repeating the same mistake again and again. See? The word pramada and prabhata, they look alike. Repeating the same mistake again and again, again and again. We have to be alert. So, in this manner, yunjannevam sadatmanam yogi niyatamanasa. Niyatamanasa means what? Once the mind is employed for a particular job, thereafter the mind does not run from here to there in this manner. It has to be fully available. See, whenever you have experienced extreme joy, that time if you observe, that time your mind is 100% integrated. And whenever we are not able to experience joy, it is only because our mind is completely dissipated. Either in some person or in some place or in some project or in some problem, one way or the other the mind is engaged, and we are somehow physically present somewhere, mentally present somewhere, and intellectually completely switch off. No, such a seeker cannot practice meditation. Junjannevam sadatmanam yogi niyatamanasah. What is the net result? Shantim nirvana paramam. He attains the parama shanti. What is the Parama Shanti? Parama Shanti is, one is Ashanti, we all know, noise. Second is Shanti. Shanti is what? Absence of Ashanti. And there is third called as Prashanti or Parama Shanti. What is this Parama Shanti? The Parama Shanti is not disturbed by the Ashanti and it is not enhanced by the Shanti. It is uncorruptible. It is ever the same. See? Dukkeshu anudvigna manaha, second chapter. Sukheshu vigata spruhaha, vitaraga bhaya krodhaha, titadihi muni uchchate. Therefore, all the time our attention is on the quality of the mind. Like a model girl, all the time her attention is on her figure, because that is the most valuable thing for her. Similarly, for a seeker, his attention has to be exclusively on the mind. Yogi niyatavanasaha shantim nirvana paramam masamstham adhigacchati. And this attainment of undisturbed existence is called as God realization. God realization is not that you start developing two horns like a Onida and then a tail starts slowly growing. What is happening? Slowly realization is happening. This does not happen. See friends, mas samstham adhigacchati shantim nirvana paramam. And that shanti is such that which can never be disturbed. Remaining in that absolute peace is called as God realization. Our peace that we know is only relative peace. What is the relative peace? Where I am staying, there I don't know what kind of machine is going on. It starts. Again it starts. It is such a rhythm going on. So when I sleep down, then I start counting. 1, 2. And then it doesn't come. What happened? What happened to that? Is it okay? And by the time you are at peace again. See? So absence of that Shanti alone we know. The real Parama Shanti is the one where it is space-like. I gave in the morning one example. Space-like means what? Addition of anything in the space does not become a load for the space. Taking away things out of the space do not empty the space. Space cannot be improved upon, cannot be contaminated. In the same manner, Shantim Nirvana Paramam Masamstham Adhigacchati. Having given this knowledge, now the teacher is giving some cautions. What are the cautions? Verse number 16. Natyashnatastu yogosti na chaikantamanashnataha न चाति स्वप्नशीलस्य जाग्रतो नैव चार्जुना. Yoga is not for him for whom na asti ashnataha tu yogaha. The one who is having no control on him when he starts eating food. Eat, oh eat, eat, oh eat, eat, oh eat. One has to keep a perfect control when we eat. One of the most important spiritual practice. Whatever may be lovely food, but we must know that after the food is eaten, the life doesn't end. Again we will get food in the evening. But when we sit and start and the food comes in front of us, then there is nothing. This is the last supper. And then we go on gluttoning, and finally, little more. Ati ashnataha, too much of eating. And friends, it becomes only a habit. You just give it a chance. There was one person somewhere I met, a round figure, and he asked me, Swamiji, you please guide me. How can I reduce my weight? I said, eat less. He said, eat less. I always eat less. I said, how do you start? He will take a parat. You know parat? Where, they make the atta into a dough. That big kind of plate. When you take a very big plate and in that any quantity you put, it looks little. See? So one of the technique, if you really want to reduce your food intake, take a small plate. Take not many. Okay, 4 or 5 small plates around. Take one small plate and eat within that limit. It is a question of only a habit. We have just developed a habit. There is one boy in Delhi. When he was in class 8, he was so huge. He was looking as if he's 40 years of age when he was in class 8. And when he went to college, everybody started making fun of him. Then constantly sending me SMS, phone. So finally I told his mother, I said, you tell your son to stop sending me SMS. Or else I am going to report to the police and he will be in trouble. Because constant ragging by the student and he will cry, only big like a buffalo, but strength is not even like that of a dog. See? And then about him, his brother told me, he said, Swamiji, when he was small, his food intake used to be according to the time he has spent on the dining table. He used to say, अभी तो बैठे हैं 5 मिनट, अभी तो और आधा घंटा बैठना है. Imagine, do you take food by keeping the watch? Half an hour I have to eat and keep on eating. See friends, na ati ashnataha. The one who is too much eating cannot practice meditation. And the other extreme, nacha ekantam ashnataha. The other one is constantly observing fast. Monday, Shivji. Tuesday, Hanumanji. Wednesday, Santoshi Mata. Thursday, Guru Maharaj. Friday, Balaji. Saturday, Hanumanji. Sunday, Ekadashi. And you are not left with any choice. And as a result, you don't eat and become cranky. Those who are observing too much of fast, they are harming themselves. I'll tell you one simple technique, simple rule. Keep your stomach full and head empty. What we do? We keep the stomach empty. No, today is Ekadashi. No, today is this. Today you don't eat. And all the time think about the food. अब इसके लिए क्या बनाए? See, falahar kya banaye? I always enjoy on Ekadashi if I am in a Gujarati or a Marwadi house. They ask me, Swamiji, do you observe Ekadashi? I ask, today who is my host? Mr. Jhunjhunwala, Marwadi? Yes, I observe Ekadashi. You get such a lovely food, I tell you, that day. See? Therefore, either eating too much or not eating at all, both is wrong. Na ati swapnashilasya. The third. Ati swapnashilasya means the one who is constantly sleeping. Sleeping is one of the worst things. Have healthy sleep. But all the time in that drowsy mood, like a Shambhavi Mudra. What happened? No, I'm all right. I'm listening. No. न अति स्वप्नशीलस्य जाग्रतो नैव च अर्जुन. Similarly, those who do not sleep at all, in short, extremes are always bad. See, I'll tell you very simple spiritual practice. Take 3 meals a day. Every meal take such that you get up from your table hungry. Never eat to your fill. If you can eat 6 chapatis, eat only 3. What about the remaining 3? Keep it empty. So out of 100% capacity, 50% filled with food, quarter filled with water, and a quarter leave for ventilation. Otherwise, there is a traffic jam. See? And in this manner, eat 3 meals. Every meal such that your hunger is not satiated. Then you will see the joy of eating and your health will remain perfectly all right. See? So, this is regarding the food habit. Regarding the sleep, when you get out of the sleep, don't hang on the bed thereafter. We have no problem as regards coming out of the sleep. Our problem is, we come out of the sleep but not out of the bed. Now that period, when sleep is over, but you are still hanging on the bed, that time what do we do? Go on thinking. So all the battery that was recharged in the deep sleep, that battery is again discharged by the time you get out of the bed. And that laziness is justified. How it is? You get up and you look into the watch. Oh, it is 5:28. 28 is not a round figure. Let me get up at 5:30. Only 2 minutes. Why waste sleep? So we sleep. And again we look into the watch. Oh, it is 5:55. Again, not a round figure. Let it be 6 o'clock. Again we sleep. And again when we get up, it becomes 6:28. Funny figure, I don't know why. I think I should get up at 6:30. And by the time it goes on and on and on, all our energy that we have harvested is completely destroyed. Get out of the sleep and out of the bed. Upanishad says, Uttishtata jagrata prapya varanya bodhata. It is not said, wake up and then get up. Upanishad says, first get up and then you will automatically wake up. The problem is not coming out of sleep. The problem is coming out of the bed. See? Therefore, give it a try. The moment your sleep is over, immediately get out of the bed. Today's world, the bed is always spread in the house. Any time you come, you sleep. You know, there were traditions where beds were never kept open in the house. After your morning, you get up, roll the bed and pile it up in a corner. And the whole house is empty. But now whenever we come from anywhere, the bed is waiting. Come now, please. See? So the major portion of the house is occupied by the bed. See, if you see the total area in your room, suppose your room is at 12 by 12. Out of that, more than 6 by 8, it is the bed. And hardly there is little space for movement. So everything is on the bed, bed, bed. Next life, bed bug. So, nachati sapnashilasya jagrato naivacha Arjuna. Therefore, Bhagavan gives us a simple technique. 17th mantra. Yuktahara viharasya. Yuktacheshtasya karmasu. Yukta swapnavabodhasya yogo bhavati dukkha. Dukkha means the destroyer of miseries. Yoga is the destroyer of misery. For whom? Yuktahara viharasya. He who has got a perfect balance in ahar and vihar. How much we eat, how much we should not eat, how much we get involved in the world, how much we should withdraw from the world, how many activities we should get engaged, where we should not engage. Yukta swapnavabodhasya, he who has a clear understanding how much we should sleep, how much we should not sleep. See, about sleep I'll tell you one simple rule. If you retire at night early, finish your food latest by 7 o'clock, by 9 o'clock if you sleep, your sleep will be over early morning by about 3-4 o'clock. Get up at 4 o'clock and start your day very fresh, and all the great things can happen only in the early morning. Example, sleep. The sleep is best early in the morning. When the sleep can be so good, everything can be the best. And in this manner, when you develop this habit, you will see that your day becomes very fresh. It is something like starting your day in an inspired mood. Then, for him only, spiritual life is not a burden. Further, 18th verse, Yada viniyatam chittam Atmannevavatishtate Nispruha sarva kamebhyo Yukta ityuchyate tada. Now see who is the yogi. Yada viniyatam chittam atmani eva avatishthate. See, there are two techniques. One is according to our Vedanta Shastra, other is according to Yoga Shastra. Yoga is basically matter oriented. Therefore, they will be talking all the time control of matter, control of mind. And therefore, they talk about concentration. There is one practice in yoga, they call it as the Trataka. You know the Trataka? In that, they will be keeping a candle burning in front of you and sit in front of the candle and look at it without moving. Your eyes should not blink. Keep on. Then what will happen? You will develop concentration. By this, we become objective in our approach and we go away from ourselves. Vedanta tells, don't waste your time in concentration. Then live more and more in awareness. When you spend time in concentration, you are living at the level of the mind and the body. But when you are living more and more in awareness, you are living in consciousness. And this is what the teacher says, Yada viniyatam chittam atmani eva avatishthate. See? Now see, I'll just give you one small exercise. I'll chant Sri Ram. First, you focus your attention on the sound word Sri Ram. Afterwards, again I'll tell you, then focus your attention on the silence between the two Sri Rams. Then again I'll give instruction. First instruction 1, second instruction 2, focus attention on the silence. Then I will say 3, then focus attention on your own being. What will be the difference? When you are hearing Sri Ram, you are focusing attention on the sound, an object. When you are focusing attention on the silence between the two Sri Ram, you are focusing attention on the mind, because sounds you have dropped. Silence is heard by the mind, not by the ears. So you come to the mind. And third point, whether there is a sound or a silence, it doesn't matter. Unless you are present, neither the sound nor the silence can be established. So these are the three stages through which we have to go. When you hear sound, you are concentrating. When you are listening to the silence, you are getting out of the sound and coming to the mind. And when you are being yourself, then you are living in awareness. So these are the three stages. Ready? Now take your own experience. It cannot be taught, it has to be had. Now first, focus attention on the sound. Shri Ram. Shri Ram. Shri Ram. Now the second one. Shri Ram. Shri Ram. Shri Ram. Shri Ram. Now the third one. Whether sound or silence, it makes no difference. Shri Ram. Shri Ram. Shri Ram. Shri Ram. Shri Ram. This journey from the object of knowledge to the experience of the object to the experiencer of the experience. This journey is the journey to the self. Come to cognize this. The journey is not in time. This is not in space. In this journey, we don't reach anywhere. We don't gain anything. See? Therefore, yada viniyatam chittam atmannevavatishtate. And when we just start abiding in our own self, then nispraha sarvakamebhya. Then we function on zero desire level. No expectations. I'll give you one thumb rule to be happy in this world. A very simple thumb rule. Write off your rights. When you write off your rights, nothing in this world can disturb you. If we don't write off our rights, then our own people will do our rights right away when we are alive, whether it is right or wrong. See, friends, We have to be extremely alert about this. Nispruhaha sarva kamebhya. Let us get beyond all kinds of expectation. Nispruhaha sarva kamebhya yukta ityuchyate tada. Then we have attained perfection in life. See how the desire is born. Let us learn it. Step number 1. I think myself to be incomplete. Step number 2. I understand the world to be other than me. Step number 3. I imagine unless I have that particular object, I am incomplete. And as a result of this imagination, I strongly desire that object. That is called as the desire. So if we observe, I cannot have desire about myself. See, I have got my camera, I cannot have desire of my camera. I will have desire of your watch, because that I don't have. See? So the desire is always about other. It cannot be about self. So whenever there is a sense of incompleteness, a sense of otherness, then only a desire is possible. So nispruhaha sarva kamebhya, when we function under zero desire level, then we have not imagined we are incomplete in any way. See? Otherwise, why a man should get married? Why a man should start smoking? Are we born with a 5 packet and a lighter? The moment we are born, we start smoking? No. We just imagine that I am incomplete without smoking. Everybody is smoking. And the advertisement goes, that useless fellow is sitting on a Honda, and then one Hondi is sitting behind, and dhak going on, and then somebody puts a cigarette in his mouth and lights, and we go on imagining, I think I am that. And in this manner, this imagination triggers, and we start smoking. See? Therefore, friends, nispruhaha sarva kamebhya. And to understand it clearly, please try to analyze your own experiences again and again. What are our experiences? In the deep sleep, when we all experience bliss and happiness, that time we desire nothing. Desire-free experience is real bliss. And that is why we want to fulfill our desires. What is the meaning of fulfillment of the desires? Fulfillment of the desires means removal of the desire. And why we want to remove the desires? Because they are not normal. See, friends, why we want to remove? Do we want to remove the head from our shoulder? No, it is normal. But if there is a purse on the same shoulder, after some time we want to remove. Because it is not normal. If the desire was normal for us, we will never remove that. But we struggle to remove the desire because it is not normal. Therefore, friends, desire-free existence is the real blissful existence. Nispruhaha sarva kamebhyo yukta ityuchyate tada. Now such a person, his mind is now glorified and pictured before us. Yatha deepo nivatastho nengate sopama smruta yogino yata chittasya junjato yogamatmanaham. Example is given, just like a lamb with a flame, if it is kept in a corner well guarded from the breeze, then how the flame is absolutely steady. It has got all the potentiality to move, but because there is no wind around, it is steady in the same manner. The mind of the yogi is ever steady, undisturbed by the presence or the absence of the things around him. Whatever is happening or not happening, his mind is absolutely quiet and calm and not sleepy. See, a sleepy mind is also undisturbed mind. But we are not talking about that. Otherwise, every sleeping fellow will be a great yogi. No. Therefore, yatha dipo nivasdastaha nengate sopama smruta yoginaha yatachittasya yoginaha. The one whose chitta, the mind is properly controlled, nengate, is no more wavering because of anything, yunjato yogam atmanaha. In this manner, he is never separated from his divine experience of blissful existence. Such a person is ever at peace with himself and with the whole world. This is another very important thing. If we are at peace with ourselves, then only we can be at peace with the world. If we are constantly disturbed, then we are never able to understand anything. I'll tell you one story about this. This is the text, very difficult text to understand. It is called as Tripura Rahasya. And this Tripura Rahasya, the story goes. Parshuramji has annihilated 21 times Kshatriyas from the earth, and 22nd time when Bhagwan Rama he has to confront, he was defeated. When he was defeated, he became so disgusted and went to the forest in the Malabar hills. And when he went there, he came across a Mahatma. And when he reached in his vicinity, he experienced so deep bliss. So he asked the Mahatma, "Sir, I was so disturbed. I just came near you. What has happened to me? I am unable to explain this experience, this joy. Can you please tell me what it is?" So the Mahatma says, this is called as the Brahmananda, your own bliss, not borrowed from anything. When this is said, I think, no, you are not explaining me properly. Please explain properly. You are not explaining me properly. So the Mahatma says, actually, you are very intelligent, and I am not matching to your intelligence. Therefore, I will guide you to another guru, and that guru will tell you. And then he goes and tells you, go to Dattatreya. And then Parshuramji goes to Dattatreya and tells, see, I went to that Mahatma, he could not explain me properly what that bliss was, so you please tell me. Dattatreya immediately understands, okay, this is the fellow, he requires a Gobar treatment. What is a Gobar treatment? There was a seeker. He went to a Mahatma. Sir, please give me Upadesh. Mahatma said, Tattvamasi, you are Parabrahma Paramatma. The seeker said, sir, why are you making fun of me? Why don't you tell me that you don't know? And out of revolt, anger, he goes to another Mahatma. Sir, that Mahatma told me that I am Brahman. Is it ever possible? Not possible. You tell me. He said, yes, my dear son, you are perfectly right. You have to do sadhana. And what is the sadhana? We have got 200 cows in our ashram. You do go seva. Clean the gaudang and clean the urine and every day wash the cows, and that you have to do for 12 years. So 12 years every day is cleaning the cow dung, washing the urine, and as a result in 12 years when you live in the cow dung, you start smelling cow dung. And after 12 years are over, he said, now tomorrow you take fresh bath and come in the morning. When he comes in the morning, what Upadesh can be given? That Mahatma says, you are Parabrahma Paramatma. Oh God, this is what if you have to tell me, that Mahatma also told the same thing. What new you have told me? He said, look here, when you did not listen to that Mahatma, you have to lift the cow dung. If you don't listen to me, you will have to lift the human dung. Now behave properly. Our imagination is, because we are not steady, extremely agitated mind. So when Dattatreya Bhagwan saw this Parshuramji, then here is a person extremely disturbed. So to him, he said, yes, you are right. He could not explain, I'll explain you. And he gives him a stone. This is Tripura Devi. Go and do Upasana. And what is the Upasana? You should get up early in the morning, take cold water bath. But when you are giving Abhishek to the mother, give a hot water bath. You should observe fast, but give nice Naivedya to the mother. You should put on very simple clothes, but there should be very rich clothing for the mother. You should go on around for 108 times, multiplied by 108 times, and the mother will sit in one place. You should keep on chanting the Lord, her name, and she will keep quiet. This you do for 12 years, one tapa. After this is done, he comes back to Dattatreya Bhagwan. Sir, what I am doing? Who is this Tripura Devi? Unnecessarily I am wasting my time. He said, no, you have not wasted your time. You have now kindled inquiry in your mind. Unless we are capable of conducting inquiry, we cannot focus our attention on anything in life. Therefore, the teacher tells only once. A student who is able to catch in one go, he is a capable student. And why the students are not capable? Because ek dil ke tukde hazar hue. Our mind is constantly shattered. One moment here, one moment there. One moment here, one moment there. Can't we focus our mind on one job for 1 hour? See, friends. Therefore, as I told you, our mind knows two extremes. Either it is multi-pointed or it is zero-pointed. What happened? Oh, not in this plane of consciousness. It is other plane of consciousness. See? Therefore, yogino yati chittasya junjato yogamatmanaha. Now, 20th verse. Yatro paramate chittam niruddham yoga sevayam yatra chaivatmanatmanam pashyannatmani tushyati yatra yoga sevaya niruddham chitram uparamate. When our mind is well disciplined through the yoga abhyas, and uparamate means what? It is effortlessly withdrawn. See, there is no struggle. It is something like, we switch on and the light comes. We switch off, the light goes. With that ease, when we are able to switch off. See, like, we sit for meditation, that time. I am nobody, nothing to be decided what I will do after meditation, switch off. Now we are fully available in the present. Why can't we sit for 1 hour? We can. But our switch is dhila. We switch it off, again it falls, and again. See? And for that nobody is responsible. We have never given any attention and training to our mind. See, friends, how much care we take for our clothes. They should be washed, they should be ironed, everything. How much care we take to take care of our house. How much care we take to eat food and all that, everything we, but what care we have ever taken as regard the mind is concerned? See, friends, then mind is the instrument with which we have to come in contact with the world. You know, earlier days in India, when the barber used to go from house to house for shaving, now everybody shaves himself. So the barber will come. When he comes with his razor. And if his razor is not perfect, how can he shave? So who will take care of the razor? He himself. In the same manner, the instrument with which we come in contact with the world, that instrument is mind. And that mind has to be kept in a proper shape by us. Nobody can do it for us. See, and what is the control over the mind? This is the very simple thing, friends. Mind is available to a given job for a required length of time effortlessly. That is all. Therefore, yatro paramate chittam niruddham yoga sevaya. So the mind is able to withdraw instantaneously. See? One example I'll give you. Once I was conducting a management conference, and in that workshop, this drama I played. All the big industrialists and their CEO were sitting around, about 20 of them. And this experiment was done about the mind control. So I told the servant, I said, look here, when I start, you come in between. I'll scold you, but you don't worry. And then you say to me, Swamiji, I have paid that person that much amount, this is the remaining amount, please take it back and count. I will say it's okay. You say, no Swamiji, please count, afterwards you'll bother me. So I'll again scold you and start counting. Okay? Okay. So every drama was set, and all the management necktie fellows have come and sat. Big people. And drama started, I scolded him, and then I started counting the money that he has given me. 500 rupees, big bundle. So I started counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 10, 11, 12. So one person said, Swamiji, you are counting wrong. I said, did I ask you to count my money? Observe. Anybody who is counting money, if you are standing there, you start counting. Observe. Why this happens? Because we have value for the money, is it not? If you make one mistake, you lose straight away 500 rupees. In the same manner, we miss one breathing. Imagine the breath goes out and forgets to come back. Cinema over. But we have not known the value of our own life. And therefore, we are doing pramad. The same mistake is being done again and again. See, friends, how many people are born in this world and how many people perish? Are we going to be one among millions? Same way? See, therefore, unless we recognize the value of our life, yatro paramate chittam niruddham yoga sevaya yatra chaivatmanatmanam pashyan atmani tushyati. And when thus our mind is fully withdrawn from the world and it is not sleeping, most important, underline, bold, inverted commas, bracket, put every kind of speciality. And it is not sleeping. See, that mind attains unparalleled bliss. We only know different types of happiness. One type of happiness is what? Happiness, what is called as laziness. That is called as tamoguni happiness. In the 18th chapter, Bhagavan says, Nidra alasya pramadottam tat sukham tamasam surutam. That happiness that we get because of excessive sleep, laziness, it is a tamoguni happiness, not good one. Then second kind of happiness we know, Vishayendriya Sanyoga Jattad Agre Amrutopamam. When our senses and the objects come in contact, that time, it is so nice, it is so nice, it is so nice. And afterwards, stomach is paining, it is burning. See, you go in Delhi on that Arya Samaj Road, Karol Bagh, and there are many those, chaat shops, tang, 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 making noise, and all kinds of pollution goes over there. They make the tikkis and mirch and masala, and all the Punjabi ammas, all, painted and sweating, and this way and that way, and eating. Hey, Ram, 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 Ram. And afterwards, it's burning in the stomach. Who told you to eat? नहीं, खाने में बड़ा मजा आ रहा था. While eating, it is a joy. Subsequently, it is a tragedy. See? But this happiness is not the happiness to indulgence or laziness. It is a discovery of the bliss. Therefore, Yatra chaivatmanatmanam pashyan atmane tushyati. Now what is this happiness? This happiness is the happiness of contentment. Please understand. There is one sutra in Patanjali Yoga Darshan where it is said, Santoshat anuttama sukhalabha. Contentment is unparalleled bliss. See, and where there is no contentment, even the whole world is not enough. Our Mahatma Gandhi used to say something very good. He used to say, the whole world is enough for the need of everyone, but the whole world is not enough for the greed of anyone. See, friends, there is no contentment. Want more and more and more and more. What for? And how long are we going to indulge? See? Therefore, unless we recognize the real joy is in contentment, and such a person can never be corrupted, he can never be purchased, and he can never go the wrong way. In this manner, yatra chaivatmanatmanam pashyan atmani tushyati. When he discovers his own blissful self, that happiness is unparalleled. Continuing further, this happiness is defined in 21st verse. Sukhamatyantikam yattada buddhi grahyamatīndriyam vetti yatra na chaivayam stitaschalati tatvataha. Sukham atyantikam, one quality, buddhi grahyam, two, atindriyam, three, and fourth, yatra stitaha na chalati, fourth quality, having station in which there is no further fall. Four things. Now let us understand one by one. First, atindriyam. All the happiness that we know is only getting through the senses. Now, one example I'll give you. There was one boy, he chanted 15th chapter of Gita so beautifully well. So I had a chocolate in my pocket. I said, hey, come, this is for you. You did a good job. So he saw that and put it in his pocket. I said, eat. No, I won't eat. So why? I'll give it to my sister. I said, but what will you get? You eat and enjoy. No, I'll give to my sister. I said, again, you will not enjoy then. Then he was confused. Swamiji, do you have a sister? I said, no. You will never understand. So what is there? See, when I'll give to my sister, when she will eat, she will enjoy. I said, that I understood. But what will you get? Oh, I don't know how to tell you. Now, he was experiencing, but not able to put in words. The real joy is in giving. The real joy is not in taking. See, friends, we know only Indriya Sukha. The real joy is not indulging. The real joy in giving up. The other day, one lady told me in USA, I stayed with them for about 4 days during my lectures. And she was eating this pan masala, parak pan masala, continuously for last 30 years. Her mouth is always full with that. Continuously. And after I left, then what happened, God knows. From that day onwards, she stopped eating pan masala. Absolutely stopped, immediately. And this time when she came to India, she met me. She said, Swamiji, thank you very much. I said, for what? You stayed 4 days with us. I said, did I create any problem for you? No. After you left, I have given up eating pan masala, which I was carrying for last 30-40 years. I said, what is great about it? Swamiji, you don't understand. Now I feel really happy. Real happiness is in giving up, not in indulgence. Discover this. See? So this happiness is not through senses. Are we not happy in deep sleep? That time, are we indulging with the object through senses? No. Everything is closed. Therefore, atindriyam. And the second thing is buddhi grayam. It is not the sleep of it is not the bliss of the deep sleep. Buddhi grayam, we are aware of this happiness. In deep sleep, we are not aware. It is just lying down like a buffalo. That is not the happiness. Therefore, buddhi grayam, it is recognized by us. And atyantikam. Atyantikam means what? It cannot be further improved upon. It is the ultimate. Everything in this world can be slowly and little by little improved upon. I think now our family is big, we should have a bigger house. I think we should now take a bigger car. I think we should get somebody married. There is always a possibility of adding something. But this happiness is the ultimate, which cannot be improved upon. Sukham atyantikam yattat buddhi grayam atindriyam. And the most important thing, yat veti yatra na chaivayam stitas chalati tattvataha. So he who has thus discovered this tattvataha na chalati, he thereafter never falls. He is abiding in this blissful self all the time. Nothing in this world will be a disturbance for such a great yogi. And therefore, 22nd verse, yam labdva cha param labham. It is cha param, not cha param. Yam labdva cha param labham. Manyate nadhikam tataha. Yasmin sthito na dukkhena. Gurunapi vichalyate. Yam labdva aparam labham cha na manyate adhikam tataha. This is that gain in life which cannot be further improved upon. What is that which cannot be improved upon? There is only one thing, and that is infinite. All our calculations fail when we apply the rules of mathematics in the infinite, is it not? Yes. Infinite plus minus anything is infinite. Infinite is that which cannot be multiplied. Infinite is that which cannot be divided. Infinite is that which cannot be improved upon. It is this infinite bliss. Therefore, here the teacher says, Yam labdvana aparam labham manyate adhikam tataha. There cannot be further demand of anything in this world. And yasmin sthitaha. and having, abiding in this real self, the blissful self. Guruna dukkhena api na vichalyate. Guruna means extremely heavy miseries. If all the miseries of the world, they befall on such a person, he is never disturbed, he is ever steadfast in his own experience. See, I'll give two, three examples. Bhagwan Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, he was having cancer of his throat towards the end of his life. And his devotees used to tell him, Sir, you have been talking to mother and you help many people get rid of their diseases. Why don't you talk to mother and get rid of your pain? He used to say, I don't have pain. See the difference? The devotees were seeing him as a body. But he has recognized him not as a body, but the embodied, that which is expressing through the body. If the bulb becomes fused, will anything happen to electricity? Think. In this manner, whatever miseries may come, such a master is never disturbed. Na vichalyate. Means what? Miseries do come. But one doesn't become miserable. It is something like, when you are an expert driver, you get a license. Because you get a license, does it mean that the traffic on the road will be disciplined? You have to be disciplined, not the traffic. So, Gurunapi dukkhena na vichalyate. Second example, there used to be a great master in Bombay. His name was Nisargadatta Maharaj, one of the rarest gem of our country. He was absolutely illiterate. He was having his pan bidi cigarette dukan. He could not read Bhagavad Gita, Angutha Chap, nothing he knew. And he was so deeply established in the absolute silence. And whatever he used to say, he said, because I say it is truth, not because anybody says. That kind of experience he had. He also had cancer towards the end of his life. People will come and again sympathize. Then he used to say, I don't have cancer, I am cancer. Because of me, the cancer is functional. Have you ever heard the incidence of cancer in a Catholic graveyard? Cancer can happen only to a living body. That life I am. So cancer cannot touch me. Like the fire is never burned. Like the sugar cane never has a diabetes. In the same manner, health or disease, they cannot touch me. I am supporting all of them. In this knowledge, in this firm conviction, such a master lives. Therefore, Yasmin sthitona dukkhena gurunapi vichalyate. He is never disturbed thereafter. May any misery befall on him. Now here in the 23rd verse, the teacher defines what is yoga. Tam vidya dukkha sanyoga viyogam yoga sanjnitam sanishchayena yoktavyah yogo nirvinna chetasam. Now here you will see the definition of yoga you will get in no book in the world. This is the definition of yoga which has really given me ultimate understanding of the truth. What is that? Tam vidya dukkha sanyoga viyogam yoga sanjitam. Dukkha sanyoga. When the miseries come in our life, but we refuse to be miserable. Dukkha sanyoga viyogam. When the miseries come in our life, we refuse to be miserable. That ability is called as the yoga. See? It is not sitting for a half an hour in a most torturous posture and suffering silently. No. See, tam vidya dukkha sanyoga viyogam yoga, that is called as yoga. And for that spiritual practice, sa nishchayena yoktavyaha yogaha anirvinna chetasa. So this yoga has to be practiced by commitment. Don't give up. Refuse to be miserable. See, when we all go through the immigration, you all must have filled in the forms. What are the forms? There are some funny kind of questions. Are you a member of a terrorist group? No, who will say yes? But they ask dumb questions. Are you carrying any narcotics? Yes or no? Then are you convicted? Were you behind bar? Were you, having criminal records? Nobody will say yes. So we say no. In the same manner, when we were pushed in this world, Bhagavan has given us an immigration form. And he told us, fill in this form only one question. Where you are going, this world is an abode of misery. Question, only one question. Do you want to become miserable? Yes or no? Two questions. Yes or no? And we all tick mark. Yes. And here we are. We are all miserable by choice. Nobody can make us miserable if we refuse to be miserable. See, friends, this is the real meaning of yoga. Otherwise, you are only struggling. Do the pranayama and then do the yogasana and do shirshasana and going to get this thing, that thing. There is only at a physical level. But real approach is to discover the truth which is beyond the mind. And going beyond the mind is being on the top of the world. Because the world begins from the mind downwards. When the mind ends, the world ends. So to be on the top of the world is to go beyond the mind. And to go beyond the mind, understand all miseries are only in the mind. Once, I was having to my big toe some kind of growth. So one of my doctor friend, when he came to do namaskar, and then he started examining. I said, you are doing namaskar or what you are doing? He said, Swamiji, there is something I want to check. I said, check afterwards, let the queue be over. So everybody finish. Then I said, now come and check. Then he started. He said, Swamiji, it is better that we operate it. Once it grows, it will become problematic. I said, come right away. From there we went to his surgery. And then he operated, giving a local anesthesia. Took big needles and poked into my toe, gave injection, made it numb. After about 5-10 minutes, when it was locally numb, then like taking out the ice cream with a scoop and with the lever, you do like this and ice cream falls. In that way, he put the scalpel into that and aisa karke he removed it. And he said, see, and I was all seeing that, no pain, because it was locally banned. Mind is not allowed to enter there. Chemical meditation for the toe. And when it was not included in the mind, it was not painful, is it not? So whatever is included in the mind, from there the samsara begins. So what is being on the top of the world? Go beyond the mind. And all our life is spent on what? In taking care of the mind. Give one. Don't unnecessarily pamper the mind. Mind has to be disciplined. See, our condition of our mind is like what? We have got only one son. And then that Dumbo is being given everything. That mind has never heard no. Anything the child wants, he gets. And as a result, he has never learned anything in life. And for the first time, When he goes in the world and faces the first no, immediately there is a depression, there is a dejection. See, I know one girl, an architect from Karnataka, staying in Bombay. She was in love with a Punjabi architect, classmate, came to Bombay, got engaged. And after engagement, the boy went, and after a month sent his wedding invitation card to this girl. Our engagement stands cancelled. Thank you very much for introducing to your girlfriend, and she is really cute. We decided to get married. And he got married to her girlfriend. And this girl got a shock of her life. For the first time she had heard no. She regressed in age. She became 5 years of age and became insane. College teacher, 28 years of age, and started behaving. My name is, I have studied maths, I have studied chemistry. A 28 years girl who is a college teacher. What is the reason? She could not listen no in life. Friends, if you want to become really strong in life, learn to say no and be ready to listen no in life. Then you are practicing yoga. Otherwise, small little things are enough to disturb us. See? Therefore, samvidya dukkha sanyoga viyogam yoga sannitam sa nishchena yoktavyaha yogaha anirvinna chetasa. So, anirvinna chetasa, do not give up. Hang on to this principle. We can become miserable only if we cooperate with the misery. If we don't cooperate, the misery will disappear. See, here I have come to KL and staying with Prabhat. Now in his house I get all comforts and everything that I want. If somebody will ask me, Swamiji, I have to go to KL, can you tell me where can I go? Whose name I will tell? His name. Suppose he does this way. He tortures me every now and then. Food he will give a lot of salt. And I go to the bathroom to take bath, he switches off the water. And in this manner he makes my life miserable. And then I go from here. Somebody will ask me, I am going to KL. Where can I go and stay? Go anywhere, but don't go there. Is it not? In the same manner, when the miseries come in our life, and we honor the misery by becoming miserable, then the misery will go. Other misery will ask to that misery, hey, you visited, where do we get respect? Oh, you go to Swamiji. Every misery will come to you if you become miserable. Refuse. See, friends, going beyond the misery is keeping the world under put. Don't justify. See, otherwise you get married and then show how not to be miserable. Many people have only this one trump card against me. See? Therefore, friends, so nishtena yoktavyaha yogo anirvinna chetasa. After this, the next topic we'll take in our next class. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnahat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.